Hello, I'm Tina Sibley, and a very warm welcome to Speaking and Webinars to Attract Clients. Now, I know it's the end of the year, and therefore I'm not going to rabbit on. I'm going to get straight into a whole load of content for you so that you can start 2015 with an absolute bang. So, here we go. How do you attract clients? Now, in today's crowded marketplace, your ability to attract clients is directly related to your ability to get noticed. The trouble is, your ability to get noticed is really difficult when you've got such a crowded marketplace out there. And it all depends on your status. So what I mean by status, well, you could be a generalist and therefore you're doing loads of different things. So you could be perhaps a business coach and you're doing time management, you're doing strategy, you're doing a whole load of stuff to do with business. Or you could be a specialist. So it might well be that you only specialize in strategy. And that's great. And there are fewer specialists than generalists, but really what you want to do is aim to be an expert. Once you become perceived as an expert in your specialist field, then you start to get noticed an awful lot more. Now, it would be absolutely wonderful if we could get you to celebrity status, get you on telly and all the rest of it. I can't promise to do that. I'm not going to pull the wool over your eyes, but what I can do is teach you what you need to know to achieve that expert status. And the great thing is, your income is directly related to your status too. So if you achieve expert status, you can achieve a much fatter income than if you were a specialist, and certainly if you are a generalist. So that's all good news indeed. So what is the common denominator? Well, quite simply, anybody who's successful out there and they're attracting loads of clients, they're helping lots of people, they're making lots of money. So the kind of people that you buy your programs from, they have achieved expert status, and they've done that either through running regular webinars or speaking, or a combination of both. All right, so this is how I want to help you to achieve expert status. But before we look at that, ask yourself the question, why are you here? Why have you come and joined me today to listen to me rambling on about how I can help you to attract clients? Well, probably because you don't have enough clients right now. You may well have some clients, but it's not as many as you would like. Could be that your subscriber list is very small, so you haven't got an awful lot of people to teach, broadcast your stuff to. That might mean that you don't quite have the income that you would like, which means ultimately you're not making a difference to as many people as you like. And you can often get left feeling that, you're not walking your talk. Who am I to kind of tell other people when I haven't kind of reached the maximum of my own potential, sort of thing. If that's you and it feels a bit like you're, wallowing around in the treacle, then I'm guessing that what you want instead is to have a healthy subscriber list, plentiful clients, so that you really do feel you're making a big difference in the world, the difference that you set out to make when you started on your own journey. And that in turn will also give you the extra bonus of having an income so that you can have your dream life, and that makes you become a much better role model for others to follow you. So everything is all related here. And if that's what you want, then good news, that's what I can help you to do. So the vehicle then to get from wallowing around in the treacle to being an absolute superstar is, as I've already said, the ability to speak to groups of people. And that can be on stage, it can be just in meetings, so networking meetings, but it's also in webinars and videos as well. Some people may prefer to just do their speaking online, attract a global online audience. In that case, the webinars and the videos are going to be even more important to you. So what I want you to do, though, is don't just take my word for it a moment here. Just do the maths for yourself. Take the minute right now and look at what could one talk or webinar provide for you. And let's not be unrealistic here, all right? I'm not one of these ego-driven, kind of making wild claims of I've gone from nothing to 3 million overnight and all that kind of stuff. Let's just be grounded about this. What if a talk or a webinar just got you one extra VIP client? Write down what a VIP client would be worth to you. And ideally, as well as having, your VIP clients where you're just selling your time for money, you want to be selling group programs. So things like in the mid-range sales. So let's say you had a group program for, I don't know, $497 and you sold 10 of them. That's going to be worth nearly $5,000. But what would you class as a mid-range sale for your product portfolio? And what if you sold 10 of those? Write that down. And what if you decided to go for the lower end of the market and sell something at $47, $27, I don't know, whatever your low end products are? What if you sold somewhere between 20 and 30 of those? Write that figure down as well. And once you've written this down, you can see that's what you can achieve from just one talk or webinar. Do that on a regular basis and then start getting better at it so that you increase your numbers and you start earning more than one VIP client. What if you got 5? The maths is there for you. It's quite simple to see how you can start attracting clients and making money from webinars, but without going, unrealistic, off the scale. Yeah, fine. I'm not saying it can't be done. There are people who have made, in fact, one of the people whose programs I bought a couple of years ago made 100,000 in 2 weeks just from one webinar. Okay, fantastic. It can be done. And yes, you can aspire to that. But even at the bottom end, once you just start going, it really is a valuable exercise for you to be doing, I promise you. Okay, so for those of you who don't know me, I have been a speaker now for many, many moons. I've been paid to speak at leadership conferences. Also a qualified trainer and coach. There's not a lot of people who can say they've both. There's a lot of professional speakers out there who don't have teaching qualifications, and there's lots of trainers who've got the training qualifications and the coaching qualifications, but they've never actually been paid to speak on stage. So I can say hand on heart, I am both, been there, done it. And I've got the t-shirt, and actually I've been a great speaker but rubbish at selling. I've spoken and failed abysmally at being able to get anybody to buy my stuff, because there's speaking to inform, they're speaking to educate, they're speaking to entertain, and then they're speaking to sell. And in my experience, most coaches and trainers are not actually that great at speaking to sell. I'm lucky, and I invested quite heavily in learning how to do that, and I did manage to sell $16,000 plus from just one webinar. I didn't start off like that. I started off selling $27 here, $37 there, $47 somewhere else, and then just built up, got better and better, then got a great joint venture partnership, and bingo, all of a sudden it all fell into place for me. And now I'm able to enjoy a continuous monthly income from my speaking and webinars, which is fantastic. A little bit about me personally. At the moment, I live in Plymouth in the southwest of England, which is absolutely beautiful. My big hobby is salsa dancing, especially on the beach. That picture of me in the middle there is me in blue there dancing on the beach. I'm going to be working next year in Aberdeen, which is a little bit colder than I would like, but it was such a great contract, and again that has come from my work doing my speaking and webinars. But my dream is to move to warmer climates and move to Gibraltar. So that's a little bit about me. And let me just break down that 16,000 for you. that one webinar that I did, I actually sold on the webinar itself 30 low-end sales at $47, which was 1,550 thereabouts. Then I contacted all of the people who bought from me, and I converted 5 of those into VIP clients. So the total was actually over 16,000. It was over 16,500, just under £10,000. So I was, as you can imagine, a very happy bunny indeed. And let's face it, you know, I'm not a big guru with a massive track record. I'm not Frank Kern or Mike Filsame or, you know, any of those. I'm pretty much still relatively unknown in my field. So if I can do it, guys, you can do it as well. Okay, and I'm not, you know, as I said, I'm not here to promise you're going to get that on your first webinar. Likelihood is you're not going to earn anything on your first webinar because it's all a learning curve. You've got to get practiced and all the rest of it, but it can happen. You know, let's not rain on the parade either. You could earn really well from your first webinar or talk that you do on stage. But generally the point is you've got to start somewhere, and what I can guarantee is if you make a start and you keep going, you can earn really good sums of money, increase your expert status, increase your client base, and help more people and earn more money. Simple as that. Okay, so let's have a look at it in context then. So speaking, as far as I'm concerned, is you've got 2 arenas. You've got online and offline. So offline, on stage, and that can be big conferences. If you're, you know, able to get those kind of gigs, fantastic. It could be educational slots at your local networking meetings. It can be, you know, just going to, if you're a parenting coach, it could be your local mother and toddler group. If you're a business coach, it could be, you know, for a local chamber of commerce event, or, you know, any of that kind of thing. It could be smaller events, which could be more classed as meetings. And it might well be that you need to speak in a meeting because you're delivering a sales proposal to a company. It could be just a networking meeting where you're delivering your elevator pitch and your infomercial, okay, on a much smaller scale. Or if we're looking at online, then you certainly need to be running webinars and also doing videos too. Not an awful lot of difference between the webinars and the videos. The main difference really is the you know, amount of slide presentation as opposed to you speaking to camera, and, you know, the process of people signing up. Okay, so that's the context. Now, in order to speak in those areas, you need certain skills. And those skills that you're going to need is, first of all, you need to have the confidence to do it in the first place anyway. You've got to have great content. It's no good being really confident but having lousy content. And believe me, I've seen this over and over again. It's no good having amazing content though if your delivery style is as dry as a bone. You know, you've got to inject a personality in there. You've got to have that charisma, as we call it. And that's really important, particularly when it comes to speaking through videos and webinars, because people can't see you. So you've got to inject that into your voice instead. And of course, you need to be willing to keep on going and continuously improve. You're not going to be, you know, the best you're ever going to be first time out. So you've got to keep on going. And of course, at the heart of all this is selling. It doesn't matter if you're not selling a product. So, you know, you might be speaking, for example, at an event where you're not actually allowed to sell anything, but you're still selling an idea. And, you know, in that case, you can give people a freebie and get them at least onto your list. Oh, there's so many things I've got to share with you about speaking to sell, which I don't have time to on this little session today. But there is so much that you can take advantage. And even if you're not in sales at all, you're still selling an idea, you're selling, you know, concept, you're selling yourself. Okay, so that's the whole context of the speaking. So what you need to do is make sure though you're speaking to the right people. And it's not just a case of speaking to the right people, but it's about the right topic. Now, these two are very related. let me give you an example. When I first started speaking and going networking, I was at that time doing a lot of leadership and management development. So I created some great leadership and management courses and team building as well. So I would toddle off to my local networking groups and I would give a great 10-minute educational slot on management or leadership or team building, whatever. And it took me ages to realise. I couldn't understand why everybody said, "Oh, yeah, that was really interesting." Yeah, but nobody ever bought anything. And I'm thinking, why are people not coming on my courses? Why are people not buying my stuff? And and then I realised that most of the people in the room were either sole traders or at least very micro businesses, and they didn't really have any need for leadership or management or team building or any of that kind of thing. Of the people in the room who were from bigger companies, such as solicitors, estate agents, banks, you name it, all that kind of thing, the people who were at those meetings, though, they were not decision makers and they had no buying powers. So they were not the right people. Okay. So first of all, it's really important that you get that on board. And then you need to make sure you're speaking about I'm going to go through this in a bit more detail actually as we go through. It's also important to have the right level of poise. I say poise, not confidence, because you can actually not feel that confident, but you can still come across as having great poise. Make sure you are speaking on the right platform, so and that you're at the right meetings, and of course that you've got a killer presentation. So let's go through this in a little bit of detail then. I developed, to cover all of those points, the 5-star speaker system, which really is about the right people and so on and so forth. Okay, and don't need to hammer that point home here. Now, I've got this available for sale as a complete course on my website under the gold membership of my 5-star Speaker Academy at $497. But I'm going to be sharing a load of stuff with you for free. So the way that I've kind of entitled all of my points then, the right audience is what I call the swarm effect. And then we've got your prime topic, extreme poise, your speaking arena, and your 5C killer presentation. So let's go through them for you. So the swarm effect, as I've already said, you've got to make sure you're speaking to the right audience. I wasted a lot of time, money, and effort speaking to the wrong people. So I've got a little process here that helps you to make sure that you are actually speaking to the right people. Another little tip I want to give you here. One lady that I was working with, the S stands for special calling. So, it's what do you want to do? Who do you really want to help? And she had a passion for helping people who had been made redundant. They were unemployed, and she wanted to help people get into the right job. The reason for that was it was a special calling for her because she'd been through that herself. She knew the pain of it, and she also knew how great it felt when she actually, instead of going to get a new job, she became self-employed and run her own business. So she really wanted to help these people. The only thing is, you've got to make sure that these people have got the money to pay you. Otherwise, you're going to end up totally broke. So for this particular lady, it was a question of saying, well, all right, let's have a look at the unemployed market now and the redundancy market. First of all, anybody who's unemployed, they get a lot of free training from the government. Secondly, money, they don't have a lot of money. They're worried that their savings is going to dwindle. And what savings that they might have got a redundancy package, but a lot don't get good redundancy packages these days. It's not like it used to be years ago. And if you do get a package, you've got to make it last. You don't know how long you're going to be out of work for these days. So even if there is a package there, people are very reluctant to spend money when they're out of work. So it's not really a great market to go for. Now, if you really want to do good, like for example, lots of people say to me, yeah, but what if my special calling is to help, people who don't have money. Well, what I say is fantastic. Keep that as a special calling for yourself. But what you've got to do is make money elsewhere and then go and do that work for free. You know, that's a harsh reality of it, but that's the way that it is. It's a bit like when you're on a plane, you know, you've got to put your oxygen mask on yourself before you can go and help anybody else. Okay, so you've got to really think carefully, and the swarm effect helps take you through everything that you need to consider when thinking about who are the right people. So I just want you to consider who are the right people for you. All right, now obviously again, time is of an issue here, and I don't have time to go through the whole thing on here. Apart from which, let's be totally transparent about this. I'm not going to give away my entire course for free on this webinar. But what I want you to do is to consider this. You know, hopefully I'm giving you enough to go away and start making really informed decisions here about who your audience is. Okay, the next thing that we've got to look at then is what are you going to talk to them about? Now, you might have identified the right people, but are you talking to them about the right thing? So when I finally figured out who my right people were, so I thought, right, well, I really want to help, you know, business people. I want to help entrepreneurs. And my specialist topic was speaking and webinars. Well, initially just speaking, and I would just talk about speaking. But the mistake that I was making was I wasn't framing speaking in the context that they wanted to hear about. To be quite frank, nobody really has a big desire. Well, that's not quite true. I suppose some people have a desire to get up on stage, but actually that's in a minority of people. Most business people don't want to get out there talking about what they do. They just want to go out there and do it. But the big problem is, unless you have enough clients, you're not going to be able to do what you love. So you've got to talk about it in order to get those clients. So it was really important for me to position the speaking within the benefit to them. So it's all about how do you attract clients. Now, if I'm talking to a different audience, so let's say I'm talking to a conference of leaders and they're not in sales, I will put the context differently. So I will talk about how they gain credibility, how they gain impact, how they make a difference in their organization. But again, I will position how speaking will help them to do that. But the topic that they're interested in isn't speaking. It's attracting clients, or it's making a difference in their organization, or it's, you know, gaining the respect of their staff, you know, that kind of thing. So you've got to talk about the topic that is going to be of reference to your audience. Now, one of the things that sets you out as an expert is this M here. Now, you've got a lot of knowledge which you have to share with your audience. But instead of just sharing the knowledge in a way that is difficult for them to remember, frame it around a model. That's what I'm doing now. Yeah, I'm using my 5-star speaker system model, which is, you know, the 5 stars, which break down, and I'm on the P, which is prime topic, and that in turn breaks down into further sub elements. Now, this model or signature system is what makes you stand out as an expert rather than just being a specialist. Okay, and the great thing is about having a signature system is that you can then turn this into a book as well as a complete product portfolio, not just your signature talk or signature webinar. The thing is, with a model, you use visual representations, okay? And this is what makes you memorable and makes you more easy to stand out. Again, I could go on and on and on about this and how important it is, but you just got to consider how many psychologists and psychotherapists, etc., were there, in the kind of, first part of the 20th century, loads. But Abraham Maslow came up with his hierarchy of needs, which was simply based on 5 levels of a triangle, and we're still talking about him today. He's the kind of, his model has been quoted in so many textbooks on, basic human needs, that it's just become a staple diet for anybody in that field who's learning about it. So what you want to do is create an expert model. Okay, that is the big difference that makes you stand out from all the rest. Okay, the next thing then is the extreme poise. You really want to come across with extreme poise, and there are lots of ways of doing this. And one of the things I want to talk to you about today is intelligent learning. Now, you can learn in a number of different ways. You can do it the hard way, or you can do it the easy way. You can learn by trial and error. You can just learn by doing it. But just think about, imagine if you were, okay, just shut your eyes a minute. Imagine if you're in the middle of a battlefield and you've got bombs going off and bullets, whizzing past your ear and all the rest of it. And you want to get off that battlefield as fast as possible. The only trouble is, between you and safety, there is a minefield. Okay, and you've got to navigate through that minefield. Now, you can either do it by guesswork, and putting your foot down and hoping nothing happens. A bit of a dangerous way of doing it, and the likelihood of you getting to safety unscathed is pretty slim. Or you can get a map. Okay, now, if you've got a map, you've got a much, much better chance. But what if you could follow, a really sort of, skillful battle sergeant major who's been across this minefield 1,000 times, knows his way through, and as he takes a step, you put your foot into where his shoe is just left. And you can follow him across the battlefield, and you can pretty much guarantee you're going to get safety doing it that way. And that is just like learning in any other way. If you look at, doing it yourself, trial by error and all the rest of it, the chances are you're going to get burned. Something's not going to work, and it can be, okay, you're not likely to get blown up, but it could be costly. It could take you an awful lot longer to get there. The map is the equivalent of buying a self-study course or reading a book. It's really good, and you've got a much higher chance of getting to where you want to get. But there's nothing like working with a mentor, which is a bit like following that, battle sergeant who knows what they're doing across the field. They've been there, they've done it, they can take you by the hand, and it's a much easier, more pleasant experience, shall we say. Okay, so and intelligent learning is important when it comes to confidence, because if you can just imagine speaking and you have a bad speaking experience, it's going to really damage your confidence. But if you build your confidence up and if you learn intelligently, then basically what's going to happen is you're going to be more likely to have a better experience, and your confidence is going to grow. So what I want you to do is, it doesn't matter where you are in your level of confidence right now. I want you to go to the next level. Do whatever it takes to get to that next level, and start building yourself up so that gradually you get to a place where nothing is going to faze you. Yes, there will always be nerves. I'm not going to lie to you. Those nerves never go away. Even I get nervous at times when I'm speaking. But it's more like an excitement. It's more like adrenaline, and it's good, because otherwise you give a lousy performance, quite frankly. You need to have a bit of oomph about you, and a little bit of, I call it excitement, not nerves now, but there's always going to be those little butterflies in your tummy, but you can use that to your advantage, or you can let it overtake you and destroy you. Okay, so it's really important that you learn how to do this. I've got some great information on my blog if you want to learn more about how to overcome fears and to become confident. All right, so the next thing then is your speaking arena. You need to make sure not only you're speaking in front of the right audience with the right topic, but in the right place, using the right platform as well. So, for example, when you're networking, make sure you choose your networking events wisely. If you're speaking online, make sure you're using, let's say, for example, you're doing webinars, make sure you're using the right platform for you and something that's going to work for you. And don't just buy a webinar platform because everybody else is using it. Have a look at what features are important to you. Is it really important that are you using, for example, webinars to sell, in which case, you really need to have one which has got good marketing facilities. On the other hand, if you're selling in other methods, let's say, for example, you might be selling through, I don't know, a video launch or Facebook ads or something like that, and you're only using webinars to deliver your training content. Well, you don't need all those fancy marketing bells and whistles then. You just need, something that's going to give you great educational content. So, think carefully about the webinar platform that you're going to be choosing. The other thing that you've got to start thinking about is all the logistics. So, for example, if you're speaking in meetings or at conferences, just checklists of, making sure you've got order forms if you're selling, brochures, business cards, leaflets, you name it. Or if you're doing a webinar, am I going to do an incentive for people to stick to the end, and all that kind of stuff. So there's a lot to start thinking about when it comes to your arena. So don't just, go straight off. Spend time. My big tip for this is to spend time planning. Okay. And then finally, you've got the presentation itself. And this is where you want to be looking at what I call the 5 C's. So it's all about how you put your presentation together. Now, most people look at their presentation with a view from, I'll tell them what you're going to tell them, then you tell them, and then tell them what you told them, which is fine. It's, nothing wrong with that. But you really want a good opening. You really want to make sure that people are going to listen and stay to what you have to say. You want to make sure that you've got a great ending so that people really are going to remember everything that you've told them. So one tip I want to give you when it comes to the killer presentation is well, first of all, write the ending first. Okay, so start with the end in mind, as IBM would say. And think about what you want your audience to think, feel, and do at the end of your speech or the end of your presentation or the end of your webinar or whatever. Then go back and write the very beginning and, make it a little bit more interesting. Give them some figures, give them something to think about, demonstrate to them what they're going to get out of the talk, and then go into the body of what you're going to talk about. And then that body also has to have an introduction and a conclusion as well. Okay, again, don't really have time to go into this in massive detail now, but I'm sure you get the idea. Okay, so to recap then, speaking and webinars position you as an expert, so you're going to stand out from the rest. That means it's going to be much easier for you to attract clients and make more sales and increase your income. Ultimately, that means that you're fulfilling your goals of helping other people. Okay, so remember then that speaking, whether it's online or offline, is making sure you're speaking to the right people about the right topic, something that's relevant to them, not you. Making sure you have extreme poise, making sure that you're speaking on the right platform and with a killer presentation. Just imagine again, if you're able to do all of that and then go back to 1 VIP client, 10 mid-range clients, or 30 low end. Just imagine what you can earn from one speech, one presentation, one webinar. And then think about if you repeat that and get better at it and get better at it and get better at it. You know, that is exciting. But here's the thing, guys, knowing is not enough. We must apply. Willing is not enough. We must do. Now, I love Bruce Lee. I thought he was an amazing martial artist, and he really encompassed all of what we're talking about here. And this actually is an adaptation of a quote by Goethe. But it's so true. Knowledge is not enough. You know, you've got to actually apply what you learn, and that is really, really important. So how can I help with that? Well, I've put together a Speaker and Webinar Bootcamp for the first 3 months of 2015 to actually help you not only learn, but implement what you're learning, to get you out there speaking and running webinars. You could be therefore running an amazing presentation by Easter. And that's a really good time. So if you start the work now, you could have something totally amazing, and I can, you know, guarantee you'll have more success after working on this boot camp over the next 3 months, that when you launch your next talk, that you'll have much higher chances of attracting clients and making sales from your talks. So let me tell you what the outcomes are then over this 3 months. Well, first of all, the very first thing that we're going to start looking at is your elevator pitch. Okay, we are going to make sure that you've got an elevator pitch that really works for you, and also a compelling intramural. What's the difference between the two? Well, an elevator pitch is quite simply the answer to that question. Oh, hi, what do you do? You know, you don't want to just say, oh, I'm a trainer or I'm a coach. On the other hand, you don't want to go into, you know, War and Peace that's going to bore the pants off people. It's got to be short and succinct, and it's got to be a hook to get people wanting to have a conversation with you to find out more. The intromercial is that kind of 1 minute pitch that you do either at networking events where you stand up and address the rest of the room. Now, this is different from the elevator pitch because it's a one-way broadcast. And it's not just over coffee. You know, you've got a captive audience, and you've got, you know, they're sitting listening to you for sometimes it can be 30 seconds, sometimes it can be 2 minutes, but generally a minute is about average. This could also be your video, your welcome video for your website. Okay, so it's really important that you get these two right. Then, as I've said, we want to put your knowledge and frame it around a signature system. And this is going to be one of the first things that we start looking at, because also this encompasses who you're talking to, and let's, you know, think about how we're going to relate what we do in their eyes. And once we've done that, we will write a signature talk around it and a core webinar as well. And these are pretty much the same. There's probably going to be about 80% which is the same, but there's about 20% which is different, because obviously people react differently to listening or watching a webinar than they do when they're attending a live talk in person. And then I'm going to show you how to make adaptations to cover all situations. Anything from a 10-minute talk right the way up to, you know, your 90 minutes. Or to be honest, you can even make a 3 or 5 day course out of it once you've got your 5-star signature system. What this will give you is the ability to speak at the drop of a hat, to take any opportunity that comes your way. And that is so important. The number of times I've gone to events and I've been asked to speak because the booked speaker has not turned up for whatever reason. Either they've been stuck in traffic, or they've gone down sick, or one of their kids has got ill. Actually, there was one event that I know where the speaker bottled out because they got to the front door and they were so terrified they turned around and went home again. You know, and I've been asked to speak to fill that gap because people know I can do it. Now, how great would it be if people ask you to speak because they know you can do it? Or even if they just ask for volunteers, I guarantee you most people in the room will not volunteer. Most people are not able to just speak at the drop of a hat. But once you've got this in place, I guarantee you will be able to speak at a moment's notice, because I will be giving you a structure that you can follow, and all you've got to do is give yourself 5 minutes to trigger, in your head, the order of things, and you're away. Trust me, you can do this, I promise you. So that's really exciting, and that's what I want for you. I want you to, can you imagine how much more of an expert you're going to appear once you can do all of that? So in order to help you with that, I've got loads of training videos, PDF material, step-by-step guide to how you're going to actually achieve all of the above. 3 30-minute laser mentoring sessions with me, so 1 a month. 3 monthly mastermind hangouts, which are half day, and that'll be end of January, end of February, end of March. I'm going to make it really easy for you. So, this isn't going to be a massive amount of work. I'm going to give you templates to the swipe file, so you just got to fit your stuff in there. If you put together a talk or a webinar, I'll promote it for you on my Facebook page, and you'll have membership of a Facebook mentoring group where you can talk to other people and all the rest of it. Above all, though, with the mentoring sessions and the mastermind hangouts, you will have accountability, because this is all about doing. It's not just about knowing. This is about, first of all, having the knowledge in the first place, but secondly, about implementing that knowledge. All right. So if you're up for it, then jump on board, because we will be kicking off. Well, you can actually get going immediately. Let me tell you a little bit more about what is in it. Now, the regular price of this is going to be $1,500 when I run it in the future. But obviously, that you're not going to have to pay that amount today. On top of that, I've got now here are some people who have worked with me already. This is Chris. I just want to say how great I'm finding your 5-star speaker program. I love the content that the program offers. Anyone wanting to boost their speaking or communication skills would really benefit from this program. Chris is a great guy, and he's put together some amazing stuff following the program. This is another lady who's worked with me, Sarah. As a result of working with Tina, I finally managed to write a perfect elevator pitch and 2 minutes introduction to highlight the benefits of using my service to prospective clients and for use at networking events. As a result of this, I volunteered to get up onto stage and speak with a microphone for 2 minutes about my business at a networking event. I would never have had the courage or confidence to do this before working with Tina. I felt confident and comfortable, and know I can now speak to promote my business at the drop of a hat whenever I need to. So just what I was saying. What's interesting here is Sarah doesn't fit into the kind of normal business coaching. Sarah actually runs a freight forwarding company, but she's now getting really comfortable with the idea of becoming an expert. And she's now giving talks on all sorts of topics related to international trade. And she's really started to notice a difference in her confidence when she's going out talking about her company and what she does. And she is really taking on that expert kind of persona, which is fantastic. And the clients are coming, which is amazing. So that's just two examples. So let me tell you about some of the bonuses that I'm going to throw in, as well as the boot camp. You are going to get gold membership of my 5-star Speaker Academy, which gives you lifetime access. That is to as long as the program is in existence. When I'm about 80, I'm not going to still be running the 5-star Speaker Academy, I shouldn't think. But you get lifetime access to the materials. And normally I'm selling that on the website at $497. And there is everything in there around my 5-star speaker system, lots of resources, an archive of members only webinars and all sorts of things. So that is a great bonus. The other bonus is in the silver membership. I've got is basically completely dedicated to webinars and the 5 P's of successful webinars. That normally sells separately at $197. So you get that thrown in as well. I also have my amazing 5-star signature system training, which is normal price at $197. And that's a 6-week course that you get immediately. So if you sign up today, you get to start work on this immediately, because when you start working on this, it's out of this that your elevator pitch and your infomercial and all the rest of it will come. So that again is a fantastic bonus. Bonus 4 is giving you the complete confidence to do it all, which is my Befriending the Bear of Public Speaking program, and that's got 8 core modules, loads of bonus resources, videos to get you into the right state. I'm selling that program separately at $97, and it includes an electronic copy of my book, and that's the photograph of the book, which is available to buy on Amazon. But the program again is all about implementing to really give you extreme poise, quite simply. Okay, so the total value of the package then, when you add all that lot together, is $2,488. But obviously you're not going to pay that. I'm offering it right now at just $497. Okay, and you don't even need to pay that straight away. You can pay right now just a deposit of just $97. And then 2 weeks time, middle of January, there'll be a further $200 to pay, and then in the middle of February, another $200 to pay. So it's broken down into easy installments for you. Okay, now for the first 5 who purchase by Saturday the 3rd. Now, just to let you know, I'm off on holiday. I'm off to Gibraltar on the 4th of January till the 11th, and then from the 11th to the 16th, I'm in Aberdeen working up there. So if you buy before I go, I will schedule in a free one-to-one strategy session with me for an hour, which would normally be valued at $300. So you get that extra only for I can't obviously do that for like everybody, but the first 5 who purchase by the 3rd of January before I go away on holiday, I will also schedule in an extra 1 hour to get you kick-started and on the right road. I can't say fairer than that, can I? Cool. On top of all that, I totally believe that you will love this bootcamp and that you will really get a lot out of it. Now, obviously, I can't guarantee that you're going to make 6 figures, 5 figures. I can't even guarantee you're going to make 3 figures from your first talk or webinar. But I guarantee you to give you all the tools to create a great speech, a great webinar, and that I guarantee that then if you go on and get better at it, that the income will come. All right, I can guarantee that you're going to love the information, though. I guarantee that it is going to make you feel better equipped, more confident, and that you will start to increase your expert status and start attracting clients and start earning more money. But you know, that's not going to happen overnight, guys. You've got to then implement, and you've got to start running those webinars, not just once, but over and again. You've got to get out there on the speaking circuit, not just once, but over again. But I'll be giving you the tools to do that. If you don't love what you see in the content, quite simply, I will give you your money back. If you don't think I'm giving you enough knowledge to equip you in doing a good job at speaking, I will give you your money back. Okay, so what you can expect then. All right, as I said, sign up today, you get started straight away with training videos and other course materials. Then what I'll do is I'll contact you to arrange our first 30-minute one-to-one session, and that will take place somewhere between the 19th and 27th of January. That gives you a chance to get going with the material before we start, so that you can ask questions and you've got an idea of where I'm coming from. Now, if you've joined before the 3rd of January and you're one of the first 5, we'll also arrange that extra 1-hour consultation for you. Our first mastermind half-day hangout will take place from 9:30 till 12:30, Wednesday the 28th of January. That's UK times. Now, if you can't make it, it will all be recorded for you. But I really strongly advise you to try and make the live sessions, because this is your chance to practice and get feedback from other people and myself. And, you know, this is all where the accountability comes in. Now, I just want to show you what happens when you hit the buy now button, because otherwise you might think, it might not be what you're expecting. First of all, it shows up as Sound Marketing and Consulting Limited. That is me, the 5-Star Speaker Academy and the Online Public Speaking Academy, and everything that I do comes under the bracket of Sound Marketing and Consulting. So what's going to happen is that you will be charged $97 immediately, then $200 after the first 2 weeks, 2 installments, so $200 after 2 weeks, and then again 1 month after that. You can buy using PayPal, or you can, once you log in, you can use a debit or credit card. Okay, so you do have that option. Once you've done that, it basically comes up, with all this information. So once you log in, this is all of the information, and it will come up. $97 at the moment on today's exchange rates is £64.41p. There are other conversion options, obviously, if you're in a different currency. When you click on agree and pay, it'll come up, business name Sound Marketing and Consulting Limited. Don't be fooled. The contact email is linda@soundmarketingandconsulting.com. That's just one of my business partners. But probably the best email to use is tina@5starspeakeracademy.com. And now this is really important. Once you've gone through the buying process, nothing happens unless you click on Return to Sound Marketing and Consulting Limited. You must click on that button, Return to Sound Marketing and Consulting Limited, to access your training materials. I will be sending stuff out manually to you. And the reason I've done it this way, guys, is I wanted to put this together, and I didn't want to put it through my it's quite complex to set my system up in Infusionsoft and all the rest of it. So I just thought, I'm just going to do it through a PayPal button. But you must click on Return to Sound Marketing and Consulting Limited button. That will then take you to this page where I again tell you what I'm going to do. You've got to give me 48 hours, guys, to add you to manually to the 5-star speaker system and the Befriending the Bear conference program. And then once I've added you, you'll receive an email with your login details. But if you click on this Access a Signature System training here, you get a whole load of 6 weeks videos to keep you occupied, more than occupied, until I can send you the other stuff manually. I'll also be in touch with you to set up our mastermind sessions, the group, any group calls that we're doing, the one-to-one sessions, and so on. And as I said, if you've got any trouble at all, this email, tina@5starspeakeracademy.com, is the best one to get me on. All right, basically that's it then. Remember, the first 5 who purchased by Saturday 3rd are going to get that free 1-hour strategy session with me, valued at $300. So hit the buy now button, which is on the page below this video, and I really look forward to working with you. Let's have some fun, guys. More importantly, let's kick off 2015 and make sure you're building your list, attracting more clients, and earning more income. And on that note, I shall just say Happy New Year to you. If the festivities have finished by the time you get around to watching this, I hope you had a great time, and enjoy getting stuck into the new year. And I shall look forward to seeing you again very soon.